Howdy, fellow movie watchers, and welcome back for another spooky season edition of the Wisco Movie Watchers podcast, brought to you by PTE Creative. As always, we're your hosts, Evan and Dylan Davies. We already spoiled it in our last episode. If you guys watched or listened, Dylan, what are we covering today as part of our cult classic series?
Another anniversary, yes. 30th this time, with 1995's Casper.
Top 100 movie for me. But this is a deep part of my childhood.
I get it. I think a lot of people would actually put it pretty high, especially like I know like all women of our age kind of talk about their sexual awakening with Devon Sawa in this movie. I've listened to multiple podcasts about Casper, and if there's a girl on the episode, they always talk about that.
Well, what's hilarious to me is, and we're going to talk about the reasons why, but this movie just made a mark. I don't know what it was about the 90s. 'Cause the thing is this, every decade from probably the 60s onward had movies that made an indelible mark in the youth that were there. But something about the 90s was just spooky season. Every year or every 2 years, another one came out that was destined to be I will watch this every October or September. Every time the fall is here, I will be watching this film. I don't know why it was, but the 90s was just stacked full of, we're making another Halloween movie. We're making another Halloween movie for families. We're making another Halloween movie for kids. Oh, by the way, we're making another one. And all of them, even if they're not the greatest movies of all time, some of them are, and some of them are top 5 movies for me all time. But they all have this really wonderful, endearing quality to them that you just didn't see coming. How would you put it? What's your favorite thing to say about these movies? What's your favorite thing to say about a movie in general?
One, it's definitely cozy.
There you go.
For sure, 100%. But I also, I think it's fair to say there's definitely nostalgia is a factor here.
Yes, I'm not taking away. That's why I said every decade has it. There's nostalgia for this one. But this movie and 4 or 5 others of the exact same time period all became well, what do we show kids during this time? Well, we got to show them this. What do we show? Well, you got to show them this. Well, you got to show them this. Every year it gets more powerful because it gets rewatched every single year, and it just becomes a part of the zeitgeist, becomes a part of the culture, to the point where the funniest thing to me about Casper, and why I knew the first time I really realized that this wasn't just a movie that I loved, because I remember as a kid, you and I watched Casper, and it was just a VHS tape that we owned, you know? Mm-hmm. But neither of us really had friend ties due to this movie. But there was other movies we had watched with friends, and it was like a tie between friends. Mm-hmm. This was very much to you and I watched this movie and whatever. When I lived in Milwaukee, one of the random tasks I had to do for Ab was she was part of a club called Active Minds. It was a mental health advocacy group on University of Marquette's campus. And because of the rules of what you could do and other stuff, they're like, okay, we need to find a movie that's like kind of welcoming for everybody. And they always did something around Halloween time to get people to come and do stuff. So literally I just got told, hey, I need you to go take this money. I need you to go to the nearest store you can find and buy a copy of Casper for me, and then I need you to come to this random building, even though you don't go to this school. I need you to navigate the Marquette campus downtown Milwaukee and find me in this room, and we are playing this movie as part of our group thing. I was like, what? I don't go here. I don't know anything. I just moved here. What? She's like, I need you to figure this out. Go. I was like, okay. But then like 25, 30 people all in their early 20s were like, yeah, Casper's rad. And I was like, and it just worked. And I was like, that's so crazy that this worked.
Did they pick it as a mental health story, or did they just pick it because...
They just picked it because it's Halloween season and it was welcoming to everyone. They knew...
I was gonna say, it actually does have like a pretty good running through line of grief and it's
Yeah.
like surprisingly deep for a kids movie,
Yes, it is.
and like and the whole thing of like dealing with death and being forgotten or you forgetting, like there is a pretty deep message within it,
Yeah.
and I think they do hit it pretty well, surprisingly well, honestly.
Well, okay. Do you want to know why we have such a quality through line throughout this film? Do we want to talk about the crew that is assembled for this fucking movie, which is an
Also,
all-star cast?
also real quick, stellar cameos.
I was getting to the cameos.
Cameo City up in here.
So I will talk about this more. You can tell there was a budget for this movie. They did
Yeah,
not
that's
spare
true.
expenses. But
Again, it is kind of the studio's wet dream of small cast, one location primarily.
yeah, just like Clue, we did talk about that. Where like the,
Yeah,
I mean, Casper travels a little bit more than Clue does, but
yeah,
yes,
a little bit.
but 90% of the film is in that one location.
Another fantastic location.
Oh, I was so heartbroken when I looked it up and it wasn't real the first time. I was like, "Oh man!" And like I knew it was at least partially not real, but to get like
Yeah.
none of it was real, I was like, "Man, that's
Oh, even that
hurtful."
exterior.
Like parts of the exterior
Look it
are,
up.
I think parts of the exterior are heavily inspired by real places, but nothing's like
The
actually.
Whipstaff Manor. Is that
Yeah.
what it's called?
Yes.
Okay.
None of it is actually real, and it breaks my
No,
heart every time.
none of it's real.
But we're going to talk about quality here right away. This is the team behind it. And one of the things I love about it is I don't know the rest of this director's work, Brad Silberling. I don't know the rest of his work, but usually I know a couple movies someone's done if they've directed
Yeah.
a movie I like. So that tells me they went with a director that at least had something new or something different about them. The writers, two women write this movie, and I don't know who they are. All due respect to them, I've never known the rest of their work.
I think I looked it up yesterday. The director, I remember thinking like, oh wow, he actually didn't do that much. He did Jim Carrey, it's the books, a
Jim.
series of unfortunate events. He
Ah,
did
okay.
that movie
Not
in
as
the
not the
2000s.
best not the best work.
No, it's not. I mean, I don't think that's his fault, honestly.
It's an unfortunate it's an unfortunate series of events, that film.
Yeah,
So the thing is this, what I was saying about it though is I think this is how it should be done. Is people are like, oh, what are you talking about? Like kind of unknown writers and unknown directors. I'm like, no, no, no. Here's the important part. Executive producer Steven Spielberg. At a time when he is not doing a lot of the put my name on it, and
yeah,
this is when he is. I'm not saying Steven Spielberg ever mails it in to just get a paycheck as a producer,
yeah. He really doesn't.
but this is when he is uber active as a producer.
Yeah, I mean, he's coming off of Jurassic Park and Schindler's List is '93.
Yeah.
He can't miss it this era.
But your executive producer is Steven Spielberg. Your director of photography of Dean Cundey, who has this is the second movie of this month. We're talking about Dean Cundey, and he is
Yeah.
He's one of my favorite director of photographies ever. I love Dean Cundey's work.
I agree. Another underrated movie that I think he makes work so well is The Parent Trap. Another '90s movie. Like that movie looks surprisingly great for what it
Yes,
is.
yes, it is. Editor Michael Kahn, who is a phenomenal film editor, going all the way back to
That's,
Young Frankenstein, dude. Like he's phenomenal.
yeah, Michael Kahn is Spielberg's go-to usually.
Composer James Horner does the music for this. He did Braveheart in the same fucking year, dude. Like, and James Horner's doing the
Yeah.
music to this movie.
Not my favorite composer, but still great.
He's a
Still
great
up there.
composer. Yeah, I mean, no one is obviously the truest goat of goats. But then on top of that, like,
Yeah.
he's still not even my second favorite. But James Horner's music is incredible. He's incredible at what he does. So this is the team, and they literally said these people again. I don't know their work fully, but it's not like they're getting a ton of work. The writing team and the director,
Yeah.
but We are going to give you every tool to succeed, and we're going to get
Real
you.
quick,
Continue.
I was just gonna look up Spielberg's like producing credits at that point. Okay, he can miss. 1994 was the Flintstones.
That was like one of his pet projects, yeah, and it just didn't go well
Yeah.
for him.
I think that movie did make money though, so like technically it's not a miss.
No, it made money, but
Yeah, but like everything else around that time was Twister, Men in Black, um, like they're, and then obviously his own movies.
well, I mean, he
It,
produces Poltergeist. He produces a ton of stuff through the '80s as well.
yeah, and then also like I would say underrated stuff like Arachnophobia. Like I like that movie quite a bit. It's
Well,
another
even
good like
he's a producer. He's a producer on the
spooky.
Goonies too, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, in the 80s. Yeah,
Yeah. So like, it's not as if he doesn't do really good work as a producer either.
I think he's great at giving notes.
Yes, he is. But that's the team behind this movie. So, and then you get a really, really good underrated actor in Bill Pullman to be your adult. That kind of gives you more of an anchor to this film. And then you have one of the finest child actors of an era to anchor the entire movie with Christina Ricci, which that girl has presence for a 13-year-old. Like, I don't know what it is, but she's got some presence to her.
Is this coming off of both Adam's Family or okay?
Yeah.
I didn't know if the second one was before or after this.
Adam's Family Values is 93 because Adam's Family is 91, then it's 93,
Okay.
and then she's here for 95.
Yeah, that I'm not a huge Adam's Family person. I know you are. Um,
I've been in love with Christina Ricci my entire life because I saw Wednesday Addams, and I just went, this girl's the
yeah,
coolest fucking thing I've ever seen in my life.
she definitely has like this weird magnetic charisma to
I,
her.
I literally have an Addams Family tattoo with my wife
Yeah,
because I love the Addams Family that much. So it's but Wednesday Addams like this is before the show. Anyone could corroborate with my mother-in-law. I said even 10 years ago, if I had a daughter, I'd name her Wednesday. That's how much I love the Addams Family. Like,
Mm.
so, but Christina Ricci is a phenomenal child actress. She's just a good actress in
Oh
general,
yeah,
but like she's phenomenal. She just knows
yeah,
presence. She just has a presence about her. She gets it. And I think that's something that really impresses me throughout this movie.
yeah. She's also in a movie I just watched like a couple months ago. It's called Now and Then. Kind of like a Stand By Me kind
Okay.
of girls instead of boys.
Yeah.
Kind of like kind of Steel Magnolia vibes.
Okay.
Where and she's really great in it.
Interesting. It's just this whole what's crazy about this movie is, and I think it shows the difference, and it shows a bad trend in Hollywood now, which we always talk about bad trends. Is people in studio positions believe that unless it is high end animation, kids movies and family movies don't require that much of a budget and they don't require that much money and care because they just think, well, the audience is easy and they'll accept it because it's kids, and families are going to take their kids. They're not going to enjoy the movie. And I just think that's so counterproductive. And this movie clearly shows that is not what you should do.
I think like definitely late 90s, mid 90s to like the early 2000s. I think that is the case where it's like it's not just a movie to distract kids. This movie actually reminded me a lot of like Shrek, where it's like there's plenty for adults to enjoy in it still.
Yes. It was crazy how much I was laughing because Ab and I watched this together. I put it on and then she's like, oh, I'm just going to sit down and watch this with you. I was like, great. She's like, why are you watching this? I was like, well, I wanted to watch it anyways, but we got to do it for the show. But it was crazy how often the two of us would just start laughing at something that I completely forgot about. And I watch Casper every year. It's a staple of Halloween for me. But how many
It's been a
little things.
while since I rewatched it, honestly.
But it was crazy to me how often I was laughing or going, "Oh, that's a real," or even if it didn't make me laugh, I was like, "That's a real adult thing. That joke is not for children. That is an adult joke."
Yeah.
And I loved that. I love the fact that this is. I wrote down one of my notes. There's a difference between a family movie and a kids movie, and this is a family movie. And that is the key. Most kids' movies suck because they're so
Yeah.
scraping the bottom of the barrel because they know the audience is easy. But that's why most of
Yeah.
the time those movies don't have any staying power and they don't make an impact past the first couple months that they're
Yeah.
around because
That's why Pixar movies work so well. Is because there's at least adult themes throughout it.
right.
Adults can still connect. Whereas like that's what one of the things I really don't like about the newest Goosebumps movies. I only have seen the first, so I shouldn't say about any of the sequels. But they really gear way more towards kids. Where it's like they could have found a nice balance, I think.
Oh yeah, no. The thing is, I do love that. I do love the first Goosebumps movie. The second one is really scraping the bottom of the barrel, in my opinion. The first
Mhm.
one is kind of just a celebration of all the shit you used to like. So I'm kind of like, okay.
Yeah.
But yes, it does not have the same grasp of themes and things to care about. There is a little bit in there if you have to make an argument, there's enough in there where you can have a straw argument to be like, well, what about this and what about that? And you're like, you're pulling at straws, but sure, I guess.
Mhm.
And I am saying that as someone who likes the movie, I'm like, okay, come on now. But like as you said, this is a surprisingly deep movie.
It is. Like a story of grief is really what it's about.
Yeah, and it is wild how much care was put
Well, I
into
guess
this movie.
grief and greed. That's the two main themes.
Well, grief, greed, and belonging are certainly something there as well. Where I looked at it, and even at the end of the movie, where it kind of takes a little turn, where I'm like, yeah, it's going a little too cheesyville. Then it does have a really good message behind it again, and I went, you know what? I'm going to give this movie a lot of credit. I'm analyzing this movie,
Yeah.
going like, there's more. There's a lot more here than I recall to this film.
Yeah, I think some people would say it's a little bit too saccharine, which some people say about all Spielberg movies.
Correct, and
But
that's fine.
I say it all the time. I love a nice, genuine theme where they don't have to, take the piss out of everything. So,
And I agree with that, and I think that's awesome. Start off this up. I love the fun tone setter. It is great because it's got this underlying spook to it, so you know there could be some scares, or there could be some things here. And we get our first of
hey,
two.
I was gonna say, there's the first cameo.
I was gonna say we get our first of our two sports movies for kids and families here, where we
Yep.
get Chancey Leopardi who plays Squints, Polydorus in The Sandlot, is because no one recognizes him because he doesn't have the fucking glasses on. But that's
Exactly.
because I was just like, I've always been like, why do I feel like I know that kid? And I finally looked it up and I was like, oh my god, it's fucking
I
Squints.
I had no memory of that, and when I saw him, I knew immediately. I was like, "Hey, Squints, nice."
But I think that's just a fun because they set up the scary and the spooky, and then they go for the joke 4 minutes in, and they go back to
Mhm.
lighthearted fun. But at first,
That's a nice tone setter.
yes, I love that. We go to cameo number 2 immediately with Ben Stein. Great cameo work there.
Yeah, yeah.
And one of my favorite lines ever, because it's so stupid. The Dyslexic Dalmatian Foundation, $1.2 million. You're like, what the fuck is the Dyslexic Dalmatian Foundation? What the
Can I
fuck are you
just
talking
say
about?
that's? I have mad respect for that guy who died. That
Yes!
father. I was
Yes!
like, this sounds like what I would be giving money to if I was a millionaire.
When
It's
he
just a
dies,
bunch of animal
it's
foundations.
just animal care foundations. It's all
Yeah.
Save the Puma Foundation, $1.4 million. Save the
Hey, they need
Dolphin
that money.
Foundation. I loved it. And also great, again, underlying great joke. Owls, snakes, daughter, Kerrigan. And you're like, it's such a great comparison because it immediately dehumanizes her in the right way. We're like, I'm not going to care about her. She sucks. And that's okay.
Oh yeah,
She's supposed to suck.
yeah. Just cartoonish in her just awfulness,
Oh, yeah. And
and she's really fun.
yes, the thing is this, Abby even said, she's like, Kerrigan, I get her. She's a vibe. And I was like, what? what? Like, she's like, honestly, plus her dad kind of sucks. And I was like, well, the whole point is it shows that she sucked and he did have a soul and a heart. So
Yeah.
maybe rethink that statement, Ab. But
I, I think she gives Ursula vibes, where it's like it's so villainous but still fun to
yes,
watch.
yes. She's an engage. She does not have go away heat. She has good heat.
Mhm.
It's the classic pro wrestling parlance where there's good heat and there's the heat where you're like, just get off my fucking television. I don't want to see you.
Yeah.
Shut up.
Another actor that I think the only thing I've seen her in is Raging Bull, and that's 1980. Like
God
I'm
damn.
surprised she wasn't like, especially because she has such a distinct voice.
Yeah.
Like I would have thought like she would really catch on there, but
I wonder. I would have to look at her credits, but yeah, by distinct voice, I thought she'd just have a great voice acting career at the very least.
yeah, I mean I can look. I'm on the IMDb for
Because the thing
Casper,
is,
so
she's a vibe. That Kathy
oh
Moriarty
yeah.
is a vibe, and I love it.
Okay, so most known for Raging Bull, Soap Dish, which is like Robert Downey Jr.'s in that movie in the early 90s. And then the next two are The Bounty Hunter with Gerard Butler, and then But I'm a Cheerleader with Natasha Lyonne, I think, is in that. So like really not much.
Yeah, she and the thing is this: I'm not saying she's a thespian among thespians, but she's just a vibe, and sometimes you just need vibe players.
Yeah, exactly. I do see quite a bit of voice acting. Hey Arnold.
Hey, who's she in Hey Arnold?
She was Tish Wittenberg, three
Okay,
episodes,
okay,
so not much.
but good for
Oh,
her.
she's also in the direct-to-video Casper movie with
Wendy.
Hillary Duff.
I thought I remembered her from that as well. I don't know who she plays, but
She plays Gert, whoever that is. Hey,
yeah,
that's one. I don't think I've seen that one.
I think you may have. I think you have,
We
but
probably did. Yeah.
because well, we owned it, and I
Oh,
remember
okay.
that movie because I love Casper. To this day, it's one of those properties that I wish. That's one of those properties. If someone said, "Hey, pick one of the properties you'd always like to work on," Casper and the Harvey Comics stuff would be something really high on my list because it's so fresh and new for so many people because nobody's done it. And
Mhm.
like I know technically there's been these little shows or little direct to DVD stuff occasionally, but like that's been in legal limbo for so long
Yeah. Well, I
that
think, unfortunately, I think it wouldn't do well anymore. Unfortunately.
well, I think it's perfect for this new era of streaming service kids programming.
I agree with that, but like I'm just saying, like if they made another movie of Casper, it's such old P that I mean such old IP that it's like I don't think kids nowadays would even recognize it as something.
I don't think you need to recognize. The one thing I will say is now being in the area of fucking every kid imaginable is being a K-pop demon hunter for Halloween.
Uh-huh.
I don't think you need. I think if anything, the coolest thing that K-pop demon hunters and other random stuff that Netflix has shows that you don't need IP to back kids programming.
That's true, but you do need quite a bit of talent behind it.
Yes, and I'm not disputing that. But then
Because
if you were gonna do it,
I haven't seen K-pop Demon Hunters, but I know like all the songs on there are like
they're very good.
literally in the top streaming charts.
Right.
So like,
It's good music. I've been driven insane by it because all summer long, all I heard when we were on bus rides was, "Can you play this song? Can you play Golden? Can you play Takedown?" And I was like,
yeah, I
"Oh
know
my."
you know a lot more kids than I do.
Well, I mean,
So
it's my job. I work with children. So,
exactly.
but yeah, all summer long, all it was, "Can you play Golden? Can you play Takedown?" I was like, "You get one. Every bus ride, you get one K-pop Demon Hunter song. Then we're done. We're not doing any more until we're back on the bus. You get one." And then if I was in a good mood, I'd give them two or three because I was like, they're happy, they're sitting in their seats, and they're talking and sharing time with their friends in a way that they can all connect. Sure. But it was certainly something in which the message I got from that is a dead IP, because I would argue Casper, Richie Rich, Wendy the Good Little Witch, Hot Stuff the Devil, like.
The one I'm thinking of is Yogi Bear. Like that failed miserably.
But again, that was of the era where they were just trying to do anything IP based. That's the start of the, well, it has to have IP, and you're like, why?
Who voiced Yogi Bear in that?
Dan
I
Aykroyd,
know. Okay, I was gonna say I know Justin Timberlake was,
Boo Boo, yeah.
yeah, the smaller one.
Well, again, it's one of those where, first of all, Yogi Bear never should have been gotten the Scooby Doo treatment. Scooby Doo is already a flawed concept in the two live action movies, because it's awesome to think about, but it's one of those where I'm like, this should just stay animation and let it be animated. Or if you're going to do it, there's a weird balancing act that is extremely hard to get. Where if you just stay in animation, people just accept, okay, there's a talking dog. Where
You have you seen that meme of Freddie Prinze Jr. talking about Scooby Doo?
no,
There's this great part where like some interviewer asks the cast like, "Oh, what made you like Scooby Doo or something?" And then Sarah Michelle Gellar is talking about like, "Oh, Daphne was like such an icon for females, and like Velma was really smart." And then Freddie Prinze Jr.'s answer was just, "I mean, it's a talking dog." That was his whole answer. It was so great.
it's rad. It's rad. I love. Former WWE writer Freddie Prinze Jr. Yeah,
Wow.
he's such a big wrestling fan that they brought him in for about a year and a half to be a writer. And I was just like, that's crazy. That's just fucking crazy. But Yogi Bear, all of these kind of really old school IPs that exist purely as nostalgia trips now,
Hmm.
I think all of those could really, really work and be revitalized for a new era relatively quickly and successfully if you don't try to do the what Yogi Bear did, which was, it's Yogi Bear. You're like, well, okay, what's about it? Well, it's Yogi Bear. And you're like, stop trying to go
Yeah.
live action with it. Doesn't make any sense. It's a bunch of animated bears. Just make it animated. But I think like the same things. I think all those old Hanna-Barbera stuff, Scooby Doo's been the one thing that's stayed forever and works forever, just
Yeah.
because it's constantly being revitalized, and then as it's revitalized, everyone goes, no, but we love the original source material, and then they play with it. Where like Yogi Bear, then bring it back to Casper, Wendy, Richie Rich, like those are all in the like Casper, Richie Rich, Wendy, and then you have Hot Stuff, the Little Devil. I think all of those could be a great little anthology animated series on like a Netflix for kids that I think would work really, really well. 22 to 30-minute episodes.
I guess probably the thing that's going to determine whether we get all this stuff is because I remember hearing about the Jetsons movie, a live action Jetsons movie that's supposed to be happening. And from 6 days ago, I guess Jim Carrey's in talks to star in it.
Oh.
So if that's successful, I could see all this stuff happening actually.
Well, the Jetsons is the only one where that's all human based. So at least that makes sense outside of the dog, and the dog isn't like
Yeah, that's
a
true.
talking dog like Scooby.
But Casper is human based as well.
Exactly, and that's why I just think it could work. I don't want to just say it wouldn't work. But yes, if the whole conceit is we have an IP, well, it's going to fail. No different than Yogi Bear, because the whole conceit was, well, it's Yogi Bear, it'll have to work. And you're like, because I love it, you know. I've watched copious amounts of Hanna-Barbera. I used to wake up early as fuck every weekend to watch Hanna-Barbera cartoons. That was something that you know I loved doing. Or I would stay up late when it went past Adult Swim and just kept going into random old cartoons because it was the only time to catch them. And I was like, well, I'm up anyways. I might as well do it. And I loved that stuff. But even I, as someone who loves that stuff, was like, I'm not watching Yogi Bear. That first of all, it looks awful. But second of all, I'm like, there's nothing to it except it's Yogi Bear.
I'm
It's the same
looking
thing
right
with
now to
it's the same
see
thing with
what its
Battleship.
box office. Yogi Bear made 100 million. Don't know what its budget was, but
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing as like when
oh,
they made Battleship a movie. You know,
budget 80 million. worldwide 203. So I guess it made its money
It made
back.
its money back. It's just, can't be good, but
Yeah,
I know it's super
I've not
poorly
seen it.
reviewed. But that's the thing is I think these really old IPs also I think they would do really well if they stood to the original tone. Just like you and I did 2 episodes on well, I've done 2 episodes on Superman.
Uh, Sorry, I just googled Yogi Bear to see its Rotten Tomato score. 13%.
Yep. Yep, not good. Not good at all.
Real quick, I'm just gonna look up Casper.
I
59%.
was gonna say Casper's got to be at least in the running, you know.
So it's technically a splat, but it's 1% too low to
So
be
here's the thing. I
fresh.
was thinking about this watching both Clue.
Oh, audience score 51%.
That's wild.
That's low.
That's wild. I thought it would be a super high audience score.
Yeah.
The thing about it is I know this is
Oh,
crazy,
I.
but I was having this thought watching both Clue and Casper. I feel like Casper would be so well reviewed right now if it came out like today, just this movie today, because people are like, oh, it's so cheesy, it's so silly, whatever. But it's a vibes movie, and vibes movies just get reviewed well now.
Well,
And we didn't have
I,
the film criticism channels that we do now, where it's a lot of like just differing opinions. Back in the day, it was a lot of classical critics. Not saying it would be like,
yeah. I
I'm
don't
not saying
know.
it'd go to like a 90, but I think it'd be it would be well reviewed because it'd just be a fun event movie for people to have.
I think one of the things that kind of would detract from it is like there is like a lot of like gross out comedy,
Yeah,
which just is not a thing anymore.
right. Which I do think
Where
is
you have
missing.
like you have one of the ghosts like just burping in people's faces
Right.
and like them eating the breakfast and it's just like all falling on the floor. It's
Tremendous.
disgusting.
Tremendous.
Like that stuff probably wouldn't be respected nowadays.
No, not as well. But the thing is, it's like I just think all this old school material from the 50s, 60s era. Look at how well Superman did. We did 2 episodes on Superman. At least you were part of one of them. And look how well Superman has been reviewed. And I think that is a good, not great movie. I don't think that's
Mhm.
any. I don't think Superman is. I don't think Superman the movie on its own is special. I don't think it's a special movie. But because it's such a aw shucks, good for goodness sake movie at a time when a lot of people just need good for goodness sake because they've been so beaten down. I think all this IP would work really well because it wouldn't try to be edgy or dark or more than it's just be like, what if we just did the source material and it's just
Mhm.
kind to be kind or good to be good. I think it just hits better now because
Well,
the world fucking sucks more.
yeah, that's true.
All right, but let's get back into
Uh,
this movie.
so we already talked about location, but I did read when I was looking up if it was a real place or not that it actually was filmed in Maine. So props to them
Yep,
for actually going somewhere and
I did
shooting.
right. There's some great atmosphere shots of Maine and New England here. That the atmosphere shots are awesome.
Because it's so easy for people to just go, like Halloween is shot in Pasadena, California.
Yeah, like we
And
talked.
it's so easy for them to just not go to a location, especially nowadays,
Uh huh.
where they just shoot on blue screen or green screen. So props to them for doing that. I love it. Love when any movie does it.
Mm-hmm.
Another movie that is in this era is Practical Magic,
I just watched
which
that for the first time a couple days ago.
did you like it?
It's fun. It's fine.
I love it. I love it.
However, I did say this because we've shared this thought process and we shared this anecdote on former shows. How in the fuck my father-in-law wouldn't even quote cross the street for Nicole Kidman when you see Nicole Kidman in Practical Magic? You don't walk across the street. You run. You fucking sprint.
Mm.
That woman is gorgeous in that movie.
Sandy B is always more attractive than Nicole Kidman to me, but that's a different subject.
It's a
But
different subject. Yes.
um, they're passing the Pacific coast as New England.
Yeah.
At least they're still like on a coastline that looks similar.
Yes.
So like I love when movies actually will go to a location and shoot something.
Yeah, I think the atmosphere shots really help. I think all of that helps. I think that one little scene of them driving in the desert really sets the scene well, where it makes you feel like they have traveled and they're doing this big quest. It's 30 seconds of footage of the desert, and it's 30 seconds of footage, tops, of little shots here and there of Maine and New England.
Yeah, and they're also streamlining the relationship setup.
Yes.
Like it's so simple down to like its core.
Yes. But I just love those atmosphere shots because it really makes a difference. Those are the little touches that take you from here to here. They take you from good to great. They take you from mediocre to good because at least you go, okay, I'm in this. I buy this. I think it's why some of those movies of those times that we talked about work. I think that's why Hocus Pocus works phenomenal. And I don't think Hocus Pocus is that good of a movie on itself. I love that movie. I'm not shitting on the movie, but like, if you just actually look at what Hocus Pocus is, you're like, this is pretty fucking cheese-tastic. But what is awesome about it is how many atmosphere shots where they're like, you are in this New Englandy, Maine, Massachusetts kind of seaside town. Even though they say it's Salem, and you're like, well, it's clearly not Salem. But like,
Yeah.
you clearly are in this vibe. Casper does it so well.
Yeah, what like going back to the cozy factor, there's just something about everything not being green that really
Yes.
lends itself to because like when you go actually experience fall in a place that experiences seasons, it's familiar,
Mm-hmm.
but you get like oranges and reds and yellows. Like it's such a vibrant color palette.
Yes.
Like that's what one of the things I think it Casper actually nails.
Yeah. And I think the set decoration is impeccable.
Love that location.
That set is so fucking good. Every single time you see a new location inside the manor, there are these absurd, cool details. The amount of stained glass windows that all have different patterns and different looks. The piranha banister on the staircases. So cool. Such a vibe. Every room has a distinct feel, distinct curvature. It's kind of like, if you actually look at it, when you look at the architecture of Whipstaff Manor and the set, it's, what if Tim Burton's Beetlejuice was managed by Steven Spielberg?
It's a good comparison, yeah.
It's very much like all those crazy curvatures and those crazy lines and these crazy bends. What if we took all those really interesting shapes and we refined them a little bit so it wasn't just this distinct style and we put it into this otherworldly, spooky location and just put a bunch of money into it?
Yeah.
But there's an
Love it too.
opulence to it where you think this is a manor that used to be the utmost greatness of home back in the day, and it's now decayed. But it's not decayed, it's just fallen dead because it hasn't been used, hasn't been cared
Yeah.
for. Also, perfect
I love,
amount of cobwebs. Perfect amount of cobwebs.
Yeah, I love a two-tiered library.
Yep.
Always awesome.
Oh, two-tiered library is great. It's
And
phenomenal.
then you get every kid's wildest dream with that slide
Yep.
on the chair.
Uh-huh.
And every kid was like, "Why isn't that in my house?"
Exactly. It's that kind of stuff. Like, well, look what we were watching. I was inundated with Batman, Casper, Clue, like Hocus Pocus, the Goonies.
Like-
everything is secret passages and
Yeah.
and secret tunnels and little cool alcoves, and it's so funny.
Okay, I just gotta say, rich people are boring as fuck. If I was rich, I'd be building shit like that in my house all the time.
Exactly, because it'd be fun.
Awesome.
But that's why we're not rich and they are, because they're super
Yeah, that's
practical, making money. You know, where we would spend $20 million to make a staircase that turns into a slide with a chair.
Yeah.
But our shit would be way cooler than anybody else's because we would turn that shit into a pseudo roller coaster in our house.
hmm
It's just, oh my god. Yeah, it's vibes. That whole thing is vibes, and it's
Yeah.
so cool.
That's one of the things, like, because they built the location and it's still in an era like the 90s,
Yeah.
really more like throwing back to like old New England stuff. Like Mansion just has so much character to it.
Yes, it does.
Like when you go to look at like any rich person's mansion nowadays, it's all like boring, drab shit.
It's a lot of whites and it's millennial white, gray, black palette.
Yeah, it's oh, I hate it.
And
This has so much like nice, rich wood colors.
I,
Everything's wood. I love it.
I think the thing that, again, shows that there was a budget and shows the detailing, they gave a shit. Every single thing in that home is unique and fits a vibe and is different, and they showed so much care making that set decoration. That's another thing
Yeah.
where I know we've talked about Casper before because the CGI is
Uh,
incredible and it's a breakthrough in CGI.
but budget $55 million for this
Well,
movie.
I was wowed. I forgot that this was a summer movie. They put this out Memorial Day weekend.
May 26th, 1995.
Yeah, they put it out Memorial Day weekend.
Oh,
And
that's an odd announcement too.
well, back in the day, I mean, the calendar still exists, but you can have a blockbuster anytime, anywhere now. You can have a
Yeah.
blockbuster in January. You can have a blockbuster in March, and those used to be dead months where no one would even touch them outside of. There's a reason January, February was all rom-coms and award season stuff because that's
Hey,
what drew.
uh, Red Letter Media coined the best phrase, which was "fuck you, it's January." Like just
Yes.
absolute garbage, just dumped there.
And this movie would not be released in May anymore. They could say it, well, we've spent the money, so we're putting it, but this movie would make its money back in September, October so easily.
Well,
So
I
easy.
just looked it up. 100 million domestic. So it made its money back solely on domestic alone.
Right. And I'm assuming it did decently well overseas. I'm not sure it's
Yeah,
crazy numbers, but I'm sure it went decently well.
I'm trying to figure out what its total gross was. Let's see. 187. So total almost 300 near.
I mean, that's a great return.
That's a lot of money.
It's a great return on investment. But again, money was put into this, budget was put into this, care was put into this. Everything is done well. It's it just is. Now, do we want to talk about the fun of cameos before we go into the actual heart of this
Oh yeah,
movie?
got to mention some cameos. So you
Okay,
got Squints. You got the
yeah,
next one I can think of
it's
is
Ben Stein.
Clint. Oh yeah, Ben Stein. Yes, his is like more of a bit role than a cameo, but I'd still classify it
Well,
as cameo.
you
And then you
have
get
the
Dan
priest.
Aykroyd.
Well, you have the Ghostbusters one is perfect. Before that, you get Laszlo, which is a priest character that had it was like a Z-lister kind of thing back in the day, but everyone knows the voice of that priest guy because it was used through some of the rest of the
Okay.
90s. But I looked it up because I was like, I know I've seen something like that in other movies, and it was like he had this like weird little character that
Okay.
he did, but then he also would do other stuff. But then you have hard
I thought that was
copy.
just a play off of The Exorcist.
It's a little bit of a play on that too, but because it's not named Laszlo, but the Laszlo is it's essentially the Laszlo character that he did something with. You have Hard
Okay.
Copy, which was a real TV show, tabloid show for 10 years. That was like a knockoff Entertainment Tonight. Clint Eastwood, Rodney Dangerfield, Mel Gibson, and the Crypt Keeper all make a cameo within 30 seconds. And it's
Hmm.
awesome.
Great.
Just so much fun. And also, that Clint Eastwood one,
Also,
that is not a
it should be
kid's joke.
stated.
That's an adult joke. Going to the family aspect again.
Well, I was gonna say it's pretty impressive they got Mel Gibson to do a cameo. Like
It's 95. This is Braveheart time.
95. He's
He's
yeah, like
he's the
he's
top of the A
popular as
list.
hell.
He's the top of the A list at that time. But well, also the Clint Eastwood one is awesome because it's just I'm gonna kill you, yo mama, and all their bridge playing friends. And you're like, that's not a kid's joke. Kids don't know who the fuck Clint
Yeah.
Eastwood is. Like, they don't know. Is Vic, but he's a Mighty Ducks player, so that's how I was like, it's fucking Guy.
Yeah.
So It's always fun to have that one there. It's just, God, this movie's fun. It's just fun. It's just good. Just fun.
Yeah, but you get the classic bitch, like bully
Mm-hmm.
staple.
Staple. Also, the one so because I've been giving so much praise, I will say the one flaw I had, and obviously it's not without other flaws. Just the one gripe I have was I don't think there's enough balance to Kerrigan and Dibbs. They're just both so one note that I do think they need a little bit more, and I think there needs to be some more balance with them. But obviously, Eric Idle as Dibbs is it incredible. Just to be like, oh yeah, Eric Idle's just gonna be a fun comedic note throughout here. You're like, that's
Yeah,
great. So that was a note for me. Obviously, I do think it gets a little cheesy throughout, where it's like he's doing the sword fight with a plunger, or the vacuum up ghost that can just phase through walls. You're like, well, why couldn't they just phase through it? But that's the bit, so that's why it
yeah.
works. Like it's silly when you're applying adult logic to it, but in terms of just the entertainment, it's just kind of fun. So you just roll with it. Like those things I do see, but I just loved all these little details. I loved how much fun was in this movie, and then also there is a lot of pathos to this film. there's a lot. There's a lot of logic of Bill Pullman does such a great job in this movie. Just really well pulling things
He's
together.
underrated.
He's super underrated. But he just does such a good job of playing that dad that's a wreck that doesn't want to be a wreck. And
Yeah,
he's not a
he
drunk, he's not an alcoholic kind of dad or anything like that. It's just a dad who he lost his partner and it's consumed his life, and he knows he needs to do better and he wants to do better, but he also has his own personal journey to go on before he can do the best that he possibly can.
he reminds me a lot of Kevin Kline, but there's a warmth to Bill Pullman that Kevin Kline never gives.
Yeah,
Where like I don't think this movie works without Bill Pullman
I agree.
as the dad. I mean, you could find another actor, I'm sure, but like it has to be the right amount of emotional versus also comedic.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
yeah.
I loved how much it showed. And when we talked about themes, we talked about heart of this movie. I loved how many moments were given, even in the same scenes, where Dr. Harvey needs Kat just as much as Kat needs Dr. Harvey. But they play so well with each other. We're like, Kat brings him back to reality. Kat brings him to this place where he can't just be seeking ghosts all the time and of an or other. He can't constantly be looking for this otherworldly plane. But Kat brings him to
Oh,
reality. Kat grounds him.
real quick, is he supposed to be a fraud? I can't tell.
I think they're trying to set up the. I think they're trying to set up the how much he's consumed by the loss of his wife that he is now kind of abandoned traditional practice.
Okay. So he's like willing himself to believe it himself.
Pretty much.
Okay.
And
I
he's not,
couldn't
and it's proven that he's not wrong. It's
yeah.
just his approach to it is always motivated by his own. He can't get past his own stuff. He can't. He has his own
Yeah.
unfinished business, and he can't get past the death of his wife.
I think one of the things that they would do nowadays, which it would work, but also I think is a little more cliche. I think nowadays you would get that scene with the mother appearing. You would have it with Kat, the daughter,
Yep.
rather than with the husband. But I think that's one of the nice things about this is like they actually do give character arcs to both characters
Yes.
and they don't leave one out because I think nowadays it would be a lot more cliche.
Oh yeah. Well, I think that's why that moment reminds me of obviously this was done after Casper, and I don't know. I don't think Casper is like the inspiration of this. Did you ever watch Onward, the Pixar movie that came out like right during
Yeah,
the pandemic?
yeah.
I really did enjoy that because I loved the ending where the whole movie's built upon the younger kid's gonna get to see his dad, and then the
Hmm.
younger kid realizes I'm not the one who needs this. He's the one who
Yeah.
has the memories. The whole time I've actually had a dad. It's just my brother. I love the fact that they that choice is made, where he just goes, okay, this is for you. It's not really for me, and I think this is
Mhm.
going to matter to you more. And I love that here, where you're right. In a modern movie, they probably give it to both of them, or they give it to Kat,
Yeah,
and it won't matter as much because Kat already has this love, warm reverence for her mother, but that's not really what Kat needs.
yeah. Well, nowadays, I don't think the dad would be in it as much as he is.
Yeah.
He's actually in quite a bit of the movie.
Yes, he is, and it needs to be that way. It needs to have balance because the other thing is the over sentimentality would be put on the Casper cat stuff. That's where people could be like, "Oh my god, it's so saccharine,
Mhm.
so sentimental. Oh my god, it's just so over the top. They want to be friends." It's like, but they need that. They're two lost kids that don't have anywhere to belong, and they find belonging in each other. But to make sure that doesn't get overdone, you need to have the other one who sees it's the adult version of needing to belong. It's the adult version of needing
Mhm.
a place to belong. So it's necessary, and I think that's just what's lost sometimes. Is I had this thought where I do think the climax, so to speak, of Kerrigan,
Yeah.
like I forgot how little of the movie she's actually in. Her and Dibbs kind of just disappear for giant chunks of this movie.
He, that's the one thing I was going to say too is like the climax does feel rushed for sure,
Mm-hmm.
but also they're not set up as traditional villains, so I don't
Yeah.
have a huge problem with
Well,
it.
the thing is this: I went, that's not as satisfying as I'd like it to be. This was really quick, but I had the same thought process here. Was in today's movie, if they made this today, regardless of what budget they give or whatever, they would put way more emphasis on that and overcoming the obstacles and building up the drama of the dad being revived.
Mhm.
And they would
I
spend
also,
a
I
lot
also
less
think,
time on the end.
I also think they would age up the daughter
Oh
as
yeah,
well.
1000%.
It'd probably be like Jenna Ortega playing a 16-year-old, even though
Yeah,
she's, in her young 20s now.
yeah. I just think that Jenna Ortega, yeah, for a fact Jenna Ortega would be the one cast.
Well, I mean, they already did it once with Christina Ricci's character, so why not do it another
I mean,
time?
and here's the thing: I love Jenna Ortega. I'm a fan,
I think
but
she's like really, really talented, crazy talented.
yeah, but you're right. And the thing is, this is I had this thought process where I said there was one of the reasons I think you can track why, as writers and moviegoers, we have now grown accustomed to what we have, and we miss some of the stuff. Is we overlook some of the flaws that got us here. Where I do think another minute or two could be given to that climax, so to speak, because he's dead for like 5 minutes and he comes right back. Like,
Uh, I don't have a huge problem with it, just because I do think it's fairly obvious what's gonna happen.
so that's what I was gonna say is the people who wrote this movie knew that was gonna happen. They knew how fast it was gonna happen. They know the audience already knows it's gonna happen. So they said,
Yeah.
let's just be efficient and tell it quickly.
Hmm.
Whereas, and then but the payoff is truly getting Casper gets a payoff for being heroic. Kat gets a payoff where she has the person who she's really meant to spend that time with and show she loves and cares for. She gets that at the end. Bill Pullman gets that. Dr. Harvey actually gets to see his wife again, where they all get their true payoff and it's given time. Where now the climax would get a lot more. They'd show more scenes of Kerrigan and Dibbs throughout the movie, and the payoffs at the end wouldn't be nearly as good because they wouldn't get the time.
Yeah, yeah. You have full scenes where it's just Bill Pullman and the three ghosts,
Yes, and that's
where they're
incredible.
alone.
It works so well. By the way, underrated. Brad Garrett as Fatso. That was another
Yeah,
nice one to be like, oh yeah, that is Brad Garrett. Cool.
yeah.
All three of the ghostly trio are great. I love that. But yes, it shows how we got here, and what we've kind of forgotten was, well, what's the true payoff? That's the thing that needs the time, not
Mhm.
necessarily the
Hey,
overcoming of the obstacle.
also those three ghosts have a character arc
Yes,
technically.
yes, they do. And I loved that. I loved the fact that they're more anti-hero than anything. They're just chaotic.
Well, they're set up as true villains, like
Yes,
at the very beginning.
right. And then you
But
learn
yeah,
over time there's something likable, so they're just kind of a chaos factor.
yeah.
But at the end, they just went, no, we actually care about him. And they don't have this
Mhm.
over sentimental moment where they're like, you've done so much for us that we did something for you. They're not there, don't even
I
show
love
them, and
I
then
love the
the mom shows
uh
up.
I love the fact of their turning point is when they're trying to fuck with him and he's just like not giving them to the time of day.
Yep.
Like that's what makes them realize it. Like that seems true.
Yeah.
It's like the bully who always bullies you, and the only time he actually respects you is when you just completely ignore him.
Mm-hmm. But they see that there actually is something deeper to him than just being a punching bag for them.
Hmm.
Because they finally realize his sole motivation in life is not just to get them to cross over. His sole motivation is actually nothing to do with them. And I really appreciate that. I just,
That's one thing I don't think they set up super well with the climax is the like unfinished business part of it. I think nowadays if you set it up at the beginning that he helps a different ghost and you show like oh he's helped them with the unfinished business and that's what led them to go on.
well, they say that in the hard copy.
But that's also the point where it's like is are we believing this?
Yeah. So, yes, I mean, there could be
So
something where if
like
they actually.
they're setting it up with or saying it they need to show it not tell it.
Yeah.
But that's another like mild point.
Yeah.
So
No, I mean, again, it's not without flaws, but I just think this is a fun movie here. Also, I wanted to point out, love the nice little touch of the Frankenstein book being the actual cover to the button.
mhm.
Such a great double. Oh, we're bringing people back to life. I'm gonna master it through science, but then also, Universal movie.
Yeah,
We're gonna echo back to what we love and we
yeah,
know. I love that little touch here.
yeah. Also, the machine being called Lazarus. Like
Yeah,
as kids, you don't think anything of it,
yeah,
but as adults, you get a little something out of it.
yeah. It's and the funny part is everyone's like, "Oh, it's so biblical." I'm like, "It's Ra's al Ghul from Batman," but because it's the Lazarus pit for Ra's al
Oh
Ghul.
yeah, I guess Lazarus is biblical. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's really fun to get. I just think this movie does a really good job. It shows this movie has a lot of care put into it, and that's what I really appreciate. Just it doesn't. You've always talked about sentimentality, and a lot of modern movies, even ones I like, sometimes it just feels like they just don't care that much. They just don't.
Yeah, well, it feels like they're just boiling it down to what's going to be successful. So it just doesn't feel like there's care put into it. Because there are moments like I think of the Marvel franchise. Like there are little moments of sentimentality, but there's far more where they're subverting that.
Yeah, of course.
And I think that's something they do pretty well with Endgame at least, where they give like sentimental moments with Captain America saying like Avengers Assemble
Yes.
and the whole Tony Stark is done really well. But there are still like immediate jokes following those sentimentality moments that's like that's what drives me crazy about it.
I mean that lasts forever. I mean, we harp on the MCU a lot but it's because it's been the most prominent thing in cinema for the last 15 years, 10 years at the very late, earliest. But it's a whole thing that's kind of infected the film industry. And by the other thing is budget and care. It's so well. Let's just get it put in this room, and we'll put it in this and that. And you can just show that set decoration doesn't matter. And the thing is, I think that's one of the reasons why I don't know how you feel about this, and obviously it helps that it correlates that us growing more into adults and we're more interested in things beyond whiz bang and pow now. But I think that's one of the draws to a lot of these quote unquote Oscar bait movies and the award season movies is those are the movies that still put a lot of care into costuming. Those are the movies that still put a lot of care into set decoration. Those are the movies that budget is what limited budget they have, they spend it as wisely as possible to make things feel bigger. Why like Oppenheimer worked so well. Oppenheimer, you could see the care put into those old sets. You could see the care they put into the
Well,
details.
what I would say to boil it down is like all those things you just mentioned is it feels like there actually is an artist who leads the way rather than it being done by committee.
Yes, that also helps too.
It's like even because even less like successful movies, but good movies, I would say, like the recent one with Weapons or Talk to Me, where they're smaller movies, but it does feel like there's an artist that cares so much about it and they're leading the way.
Yes, I think that's a good way to put it as well. It's just something it just doesn't feel like the same care is put into stuff. And why can I go to a family movie from 1995? And yes, I growing up I did not realize the dream team working on this movie in some way, shape, or form. But at the same time, why can I go to a movie like that wasn't meant to be the greatest movie of all time? It was just meant to be a cool story and have some fun at the movies. Why does that look like so much care was put into this? But yet, some of the biggest blockbusters of the year don't feel like they have any care put into them whatsoever. In terms of
Mm-hmm.
those
Yeah.
details, it's so maddening. It's so it's just you want to stab a pencil through your fucking brain sometimes because you're just like this is so maddening. I would rather you do this. I'd rather you do those kinds of things and give me something unique or different or set a vibe. There's a reason we say vibes movies all the time because there's vibes movies do those things for the most part. It's a
Mhm.
vibe. They're here for comfort. They're cozy. They do
Yeah.
something to itch that part of your brain.
One, I don't know if it's a gripe, really. I just think it's curious, is that Casper is voiced by not Devon Sawa, and then he turns into human Devon Sawa.
It's an
So
interesting
I'm like,
choice. What did
why wouldn't you just have,
What Malachi do to not be
yeah, like, it makes sense to have Devon Sawa be the boy.
So
This
let's
is like,
so also we've shown a really good amount of restraint. One of the greatest actors of all time from one of the greatest movies of all time, Wild America, good old Devon
yeah.
Sawa.
Hey,
Which one
I had a
day,
little Devon Sawa moment yesterday because I watched this, and I watched the first Final Destination, which was just so,
hey, yeah, good old Devon Sawa. Love it. We love us some Devon Sawa.
yeah.
Little
He seems
Giants,
to be having a little renaissance, I
good for
think.
him. Good for him.
Hopefully I'm not just talking out of my ass there.
But yeah, we briefly brought him up, but I to go back and show the care. The care also goes into the payoffs. I love that Casper gets. I think the 10 o'clock joke is corny as hell, and I hate it. Ab liked it. I hated that joke. I've hated that joke since I was a kid. I was like, fuck off. Just give him till midnight. Don't make it a kid joke and be like 10.
Oh
Just
yeah.
say midnight. That's always been a bitch of mine since even as a child. I was like, just say midnight. It's just like Cinderella. Just fucking do it.
Mm.
However, I love that moment where it's also a tease of where those two want to be in life or the afterlife, so to speak, where they want to be able to grow up. They want to be able to experience all these new things, and I love those moments.
Also, that's a logic loophole. Is isn't she giving Casper his unfinished business, but he
It,
does not pass on,
in a
whereas
weird
everyone else
way.
does.
Yeah, I did have that thought. Was
Casper's horny as hell in this movie.
apparently, yeah. There's a girl
He,
in my bed. Yes.
yeah, like there's so many jokes of like him just being a horny teenager. It's weird. I mean, I have no problem with it because I think it's hilarious.
I do think it works solely because he's a ghost. If it was a boy, you'd be like, can you just fucking stop?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
because I also think he's so sentimental and caring about her that you can get away with it because it shows it's not just a
Yeah.
whoa, it's a girl and I'm really intrigued. There's more of a oh, I really care about her. And I
Mhm.
really want this. I really do love her. Also, I would be remiss if I didn't mention my wife's favorite line from this movie, to which I finally got some explanation from her for something I didn't understand for 13 years. Being with her was her favorite bad line ever, and one that just creeps her out, but also makes her laugh uncontrollably is, "Can I keep you?"
Yep.
And
It's weird as hell.
it's weird as hell. I know you've even talked about it with her before, but
Hey, apparently that moment works a lot for younger women though, because the podcast I mentioned listening to earlier, a lot of the women were like, "Hey, that really worked for young me." Like,
but
so
I, she literally said, every time someone whispers in my ear, I almost always laugh because all I can think about is, can I keep you? And I
yeah,
was like, that's made such an impression on you as a youth that now every time someone whispers, the first thing in your head is, can I keep you from
yeah.
1995's Casper?
Hey,
Like,
at
goddamn.
least stuck with them.
But yeah, I love that moment where I also like the fact that she doesn't know who he is at first because there is a weird creepy factor to it. I do understand that, but it also shows this like innate trust they have between each other where she just kind of goes with it. And
I actually, I actually really like that because at first I thought, oh, she knows exactly who he is,
yeah,
and that's why she gets up to dance. But I actually like that she doesn't know immediately.
I think that's a great moment for two reasons. One, I think it does show the teenage girl in her a little bit more where I mean, how many teenagers end up dating someone as teenagers because someone shows interest in them?
Hmm.
They don't necessarily have that many feelings for that person. It's just like, oh, well, someone showed interest. Or how many people in general, just not even teenagers, how many adults end up in relationships or long term relationships because
Yeah,
someone shows interest in them and they kind of just roll with it and they see where it goes, or it might turn out really well, or they don't want to be alone. There's so much psychology behind that, but I love that moment because it shows her to be a teenager. But then there's also the moment of the two of them where they've built up such a care and trust for one another, and they've become their person to belong, to find belonging in. That she's like, I get this good feeling about it. I'm just gonna go with it.
hmm,
And then while they're dancing, you get the
yeah. The only moment, obviously, can I keep you? That's weird as hell.
of course.
But but putting that aside because it works for some people. The only part I didn't like was when Bill Pullman's talking to his wife and she's like saying things that he shouldn't do. Like they felt very cliche.
Yeah.
Like asking her to wear a t-shirt instead of a bathing suit
A
or
t-shirt
bikini.
under her bathing suit, which is weird
Under.
as yes,
That is weird.
it's weird as hell.
Who, never seen that.
Yeah,
I've seen t-shirts over a bikini,
that's fine.
but never under.
Yeah, I was just like, what? It's one of those like I think that's said because it's so weird and like maybe someone that was on the writing team or the creative team had that moment as a kid where like their parent
Yeah.
wouldn't let them do it. That it's kind of like the Larry David Seinfeld thing, where Jason Alexander, who plays George, when he first got the job, he didn't know he was playing Larry David, and then he quickly learned. It was the answering machine episode where he's just like, first of all, what is this? And second of all, Larry, no one. This he's like, it was never would happen. And also, second of all, no one would ever do this. And Larry David literally goes, "What do you mean? I did this, and this is exactly what happened." He's like, "Oh," and he's like, "So I quickly learned I was really kind of just playing Larry
Yeah.
David, so I started
It's
playing it that way, and that's why it got better."
yeah. It's one of those things that writers do where you're trying to be universal, but you also want to be very personal.
Yes.
So by thinking you're being very universal, you're just completely out of touch with it.
You're being universal because you think, oh, this is an overbearing dad thing that doesn't want
Yeah.
to let you grow up. But
Then
then,
you realize, no, that's just a weird your dad
yeah,
thing.
your dad did this kind of thing. But it's a very interesting,
But other than
little
that,
note.
I really like the dialogue between the mom and Bill Pullman.
I do too. And I
I
loved
was
how
like, yo,
much
that's really touching. I really like it.
I loved how much he just wanted to hold her hand against his face. I loved that because it's just a sentimental moment that
Mhm.
this isn't this over the top. I'm gonna cry my eyes out because I'm finally reunited with the love of my life. It's just this is what I missed is these little things, and it's also something really interesting now. Having older family members that have lost their spouse or have lost their partner, where when they talk about stuff, the things they miss that are always present in their mind isn't like the big stuff, like, oh, I just getting to miss, kissing them or holding them or whatever. It's these little things where like I miss, I missed having my partner being able to just kind of reach out and touch my partner in bed when we're both
Mhm.
asleep and just like my arm falls over and I hit my partner, but it's a comforting feeling. Those kinds of little moments, I like that they portrayed that really well in that it wasn't
Yeah,
just a oh my god a love fest right away.
and that's another moment where I do think James Horner, his score really works
Yeah,
because like there, you do feel like a longing, like a sweeping romantic kind of thing.
yeah,
So I
he
think
does such a
that's a
good
moment
job
that
with
works
this
well.
music, man. He does such a good job of balancing the
I did the
tone of
only
this.
problem I have. I wish it was I wish it was a little spookier at times,
I do too.
a little darker.
I think it could go a little darker.
But that
That's
yeah, that's
personal
a
taste.
small gripe.
But yeah, I just think this movie's done so well. It's made really, really well. Whether you love it or not, it's a different story. And I understand it's a huge nostalgia trip for the two of us. But this movie's just really well made.
Mhm.
And it's evident and it shows. Fun characters, fun time watching. This should be a spook. And also, I think this is
Yeah,
along with Clue, great palate cleanser for spooky season. Because you get to stay in the season, but it's very different
yeah,
from a lot of other stuff. That's the other reason. Like we did. If you guys want to go and doing our jobs here, go back and watch some of our spooky season stuff from last year, and we made a full calendar of all 31 days of October of what the movies that we would suggest you watch. And both Dylan and I did it differently, but we both put in palate cleansers where we did okay,
yeah,
I want you to watch this after this so you can stay in that mold, you can stay in the spirit of the season, but you're not just being inundated with
yeah,
just slashers or just straight horror or just whatever.
yeah. This is a another perfect movie that fits right in with like Monster Squad and Hocus Pocus, where it's like anyone can watch it.
Corpse Bride, Coraline, those kinds of things. Yeah. I'd say Nightmare Before Christmas as well. Anybody can watch it, anyone can enjoy it, anyone can love it, and it's great. But yeah, good double showing here today. Well, double recording for us, but
Yeah,
I might just put both of them out back to back days just to have them for spooky season. But we hope you guys enjoyed this. We never really asked questions about the cult classics besides, is it worth the rewatch? Worth the rewatch. So
I would say yeah.
yeah, enjoy, but go enjoy yourself. Go watch a good movie. Perhaps it's Casper. Perhaps it's Clue. Perhaps it's something else. Maybe it's Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers. Wouldn't recommend it, but
I
it could
would.
be.
It's fun.
It's a vibe. I enjoyed my time with it, but it's not something I'd be like, you gotta watch Halloween 6. Like, I would recommend Clue and Casper way more than I would
Oh,
Halloween 6. So, but either way,
yes.
go enjoy yourself and go watch a heck of a good movie and love yourself as you do so. Thank you guys so much for watching and listening where we are. Peace, love, and hugs to you all. Goodbye!
Bye.